Hello and welcome to today's online webinar of the School Enterprise Challenge. And today we are going to be talking about how to support your students to launch and run a great school business, and also how to submit a prize-winning annual report. Let's take a look at the agenda for today. Those of you who have been in my webinars before, you'll know that I always like to talk about the why. Why do we do things? So I'm going to be talking first up about the benefits of launching and running a school business, so that we all understand why it is we're doing this. And then after that, I'm going to go straight in to sharing some top tips for success in the School Enterprise Challenge program. Then I'm going to take some time to give you an overview of the activities which are involved in each of the lessons of step 3. Then I'm going to jump into the online platform and give you a tour, show you where everything is. Then I'm going to make a very special announcement. So those of you who have been taking part for a while, you know all about our mini competitions. Everybody loves the mini competitions. They're super popular. Well, we have a brand new mini competition, which is launching today. So you, the people who have come to this webinar, you're going to be the first people to hear about this new mini competition. So make sure you stick around until this section to hear the details. And then finally, as always, I'm going to allow space for questions and answers. And at the end of the webinar, you really can ask me anything. It can be relating to the content that I've covered today, or it could just be about the School Enterprise Challenge program more broadly. I'm happy to take any questions. I'll try and pause at the end of each section, and I'll try and, if you have any burning questions during the presentation, you can share them in the chat. But otherwise, let's try and keep things until the end, just so that I can get through the different sections quite quickly, because I'm going to try and do all of this in 1 hour. I know you're all super busy people. You've got teaching to do. You've got all sorts of things on your plate. So let's try and keep it to 1 hour. And yeah, I just wanted to tell you a little bit here about this photo on the right. These two girls here, they're School Enterprise Challenge participants, and they're ready to start selling their products. And you're going to see that's a theme in today's presentation. So moving on. As I said, we're going to talk about the why, and we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of launching and running a school business at your school. So the first one, it's kind of obvious, but it's an integral part of a School Enterprise Challenge program. And those of you that are familiar with the structure of a program, it's the third step. So let's refresh our memory a little bit about the first 2 steps. So the first step is all about coming up with an idea for the business. And that's done in lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you move on to step 2, which is all about creating a plan for that business. And that's done in lessons 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then the step we're going to be focusing on today is step 3, which is all about launching and running the business. And to support you with that, we have lessons 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now, although we'll be focusing on step 3 today, this webinar is relevant for everyone. It's relevant regardless of which step you are in, regardless of which lessons you have done. This is going to be a really valuable webinar, because at some point you're going to need to launch and run the business. And this is when, this webinar is going to come in useful. So before I go any further, I just want to pause for 1 minute, and I want you to tell me in the chat bar, where is your team at right now? So which lessons have you completed? So if you've done lesson 2, just let me know in the chat bar, we've got up to lesson 2 or lesson 9 or lesson 7. I'd just let me know. And, you know, if you haven't started as well, if you're on lesson 0, then that's absolutely fine. Just let me know in the chat bar now where your team is at, just so I can get a feel of who is in the room. Okay, I can see Mega Aurora, their team is on step 3. Barsha is on lesson 9. Anita is on lesson 10. Vinita's on lesson 11. Musa and his team, they finished lesson 9. Nanda is in lesson 6. Paul Mugo is on lesson 1. And that's great. You know, I'm so glad you've come today, Paul, because you're basically preparing in advance. You know, when you get to the later lessons, I think what we talk about today will come in really useful. But also a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is applicable to steps 1 and 2 as well. So great. Few more people saying they're on lesson 10, lesson 12. Faith is on lesson 3. Okay, fantastic. So basically, I understand now we have people who are basically on every lesson of the program, and that's absolutely fine. I'll make sure it's relevant for all of you. So let's carry on with the benefits. So as well as being an integral part of the program, it's a great way to get your students to develop skills. And in step 3, they'll be particularly developing their communication skills, their teamwork, their financial literacy. I'll be talking about that one in more detail later, as well as their confidence. For me, it's really the most important part of the program, is the most special part, because it's when step 1 and 2 come together and they turn into a reality, and they actually discover whether their business has any potential or not. You know, they make real sales to real people, and they have to communicate, they have to work as a team, they have to be confident when talking to customers, and they have to have financial skills to keep on track of their finances. So for me, it's my favorite part of the program, and it's where so many skills are developed. And point number 3, you know, they're learning all of these things, but they're also having lots of fun in the process. So, you know, I'm sure the teachers who are here, who have been taking part for a long time, you'll back me up here. Kids love sales events. They love the sales day. They love kind of dealing with the customers. They love handling the money. They love trying to sell all their products. So it's a really fun part of the program. And the 4th point is, you know, you could win a prize for your school worth up to $5,000 US. So yeah, if you needed any extra incentive, I hope that will do the job. So today I actually want to spend a few minutes just looking at these prizes. So you can see them on my next slide. And if you look on this left-hand column, you can see which step they relate to. So we have plans for step 1, business idea. We have plans for step 2, business plan. We have plans for step 3, business implementation. And we have special category prizes. And if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see that they gradually get bigger. So your business idea could win you $200. Your business plan could win you $1,500. Your annual report could win you $5,000 US. So yeah, bigger prizes in the later parts of the program. And here we have some really exciting special category prizes. So we have 3 prizes for people who are for teams which have particularly sustainable businesses. We'll also have our public vote to pick the special recognition prize winner. We have our individual prizes. So if you're a head teacher, you could win a prize. If you're a teacher, you could win a prize. Students can win prizes as well. And even a graduate can win a prize. So yeah, lots of opportunities for winning prizes. And how do the prizes work? Well, there's a cutoff point, right? At a certain point, we have to send everything out to be marked by independent reviewers. And the cutoff point for this year is Tuesday, the 22nd of November. So what that means is everything that your team submits before the 22nd of November will be considered in this year's program. So if you send us your annual report before this date, or your business plan before this date, or your business idea before this date, we'll consider those in this year's program. And it will be announced in February 2023 whether you've won a prize or not. However, everything that's submitted after will be considered in next year's program. So even if you miss the deadline, if you submit in December, if you submit in January, it's not wasted, but you are going to have to wait longer to find out whether you've won a prize or not. So I really encourage all of you to submit as many as you can before this date, before the 22nd of November, 2022. And I mentioned the special category prizes. These are only open to teams that have submitted business plan or annual report before 22nd of November, okay? So you have to get at least to business plan, ideally to annual report, if you want to apply for these special category prizes. So if you want to win the Inspirational Teacher Award, your team has to submit business plan or annual report before this date, okay? So I hope going through those prizes gives you a little bit of motivation. And I know people often have questions about prizes. I'm not going to take those questions now, but I'm going to invite you to ask them at the end. So if you want to know more about how the prizes work, just stick around until the Q&A and you can ask me then. Okay. So let me just check the chat before I move on. Jyotsna says students really loved the launch day activities and sales. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I hope that acts as a little bit of motivation. Maybe you're new to the program, your students have never launched before. I promise you, launching is so exciting and fun. Okay, so moving on, let's take a look at what we have next. So we have the top tips for success. And these are basically my top tips, which I've created especially for you today to basically increase your chances of winning a prize. So let's look at them together. So my first tip is that the lessons in step 1 and 2 do need to be done in order. So that means you need to do lesson 1 to 9 in order. You need to do 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9. They are sequenced in that order for a reason. They build on each other. So it's important to do those in order. But the lessons in step 3, they don't need to be done in order. So once you arrive in step 3, you don't need to do them exactly in that order. And I'm going to explain why. Our recommendation to you, once you arrive in step 3, is just spend 1 session with your team, familiarizing yourself with the guides in lessons 10 to 14. Just familiarize yourself with them, but you don't need to do the lessons inside the platform yet. You don't need to fill out your answers, because what you need to do is you need to launch and run the business. You need to start making sales. That's like the most important part of this program. We are what we call an experiential learning program. It's practical education. The students learn by doing. So by the time you get to step 3, which is lesson 10 onwards, you've done all of your planning. So now you need to move away from planning and move towards doing. And that means putting on an event, putting on a sales event, either in your school or outside of your school, at the local market, at an event, during Diwali, during, any festival that's happening. Just start making sales now. That is my recommendation to you. And then closer to the deadline, in mid-November, you can start filling out lessons 10 to 14. Because lessons 10 to 14, they ask you, what did you do? What were the results of running your business? So you need to have run the business for a little while before you can answer those things. And those things which you need to answer, I'm going to go through them with you today, lesson by lesson. So we'll have some time to dissect them properly. My next tip is that the answers inside the lessons must come from the students, okay? So that means the teacher must not dictate. I encourage you to let the students do and think for themselves. This is a really great opportunity to just let the students come up with their own answers and just really speak freely, okay? So please don't try and control their answers inside the lessons. Just let them write what it is they want to write. And my fourth tip is, for each lesson, make sure you refer to the achievement criteria. Now, some of you will know what the achievement criteria is. Some of you have probably, never heard of it before. The achievement criteria, there are two. There's a business plan achievement criteria and there's an annual report achievement criteria. These documents tell you exactly what the judges look for when they are marking submissions. So when they're marking your business plan, they'll be looking at the business plan achievement criteria. When they're marking your annual report, they'll be looking at the annual report achievement criteria. So these are documents which you should refer to before you click submit to make sure your answer is of a high quality. So I'll be showing you the achievement criteria later on in this session. There are two places you can see the achievement criteria: inside the lesson and inside the resources library. And I'll show you both of those. And my fifth and final tip is to take plenty of photos during the whole program, but particularly during step 3. In step 1, in step 2, maybe the kids are around a table and they're making plans. That's not so exciting for photos. But in step 3, there are so many opportunities for photos because you'll be holding sales days. So take photos of your kids handing over the products to the customer. Take photos of your kids keeping track of their finances, okay? These are really special moments and we really want you to capture them. And we also want you to upload them to your photo journal. Your photo journal is inside your School Enterprise Challenge account. When you upload a photo to your photo journal, it comes directly to us. We see it. And also the markers, they see it. They see it in your submissions. So, we don't expect you to write long answers. Instead, include a photo, because a photo can tell 1,000 words, okay? A photo can really bring a submission to life. So don't feel like you have to write long answers, but do provide photo evidence. Excuse me. So those were my 5 top tips. So I hope you found those useful. Just let me know in the chat bar what you think. Are there any tips which are particularly useful in your opinion? Is there anything you didn't know? Or maybe you knew all of this already. Just let me know in the chat bar how you found those tips. I'll give you a minute to answer. Okay, so Prissa says the points are well organized and they're going to be following them. So that's really nice to hear. I'll be sharing these points in an email later on, but I just wanted to talk them through you as well and just emphasize how important it is that you do these things. Okay, so moving on. I am now going to go through each of the 5 lessons in step 3, lesson by lesson. And for each lesson, I'm going to do 2 things. Firstly, I'm going to tell you what it is you'll find in the lesson guide. And then I'm going to tell you what it is you're going to have to report on inside the platform later down the line. So as I said, you need to launch, you need to make sales, and then later down the line, you're going to need to report back, maybe a week before the deadline or something, that's 10 days before the deadline, start filling out your annual report. So I want to tell you what's in the guides and what it is you're going to need to report on. So the first lesson in step 3 is lesson 10, business management. And I've given this one the sort of a tagline of now it's getting real, because your students are about to take something that's just a plan, something on paper, and they're about to make it real. And I think it's such an exciting time in the program. So what is in the guide for lesson 10? You will find a production flow chart, the team structure chart and how to rotate. You'll find information on the business management committee, and you will find guidance on problem solving. So I'm not going to talk about these in lots of detail because they are all in the guide, and the guide is in the platform. And once I've spoken about each of the lessons, I'm going to show you how to go and find these guides. But here's a little picture. It's just 2 pages, 2 sides of A4, and all of these points are covered. And then inside the lesson, you're going to have to report on 2 things. You're going to have to give a summary of what you did to run your business. So this is something your students will have to think about. Once they've been running their business for a few weeks, they'll need to summarize it. They'll need to write, this is what we did to run our business. We did this, we did that, this is how it went, and so on. And they are also going to have to give a brief description of which departments there are in their business and how the students rotated around the different departments and the different roles. So if you're thinking, wow, that sounds complicated, you don't need to worry because it's all in the lesson guide. The lesson guide teaches you, it teaches your students how to structure a business. You're going to have to decide on departments. Maybe you'll have sales, maybe you'll have production, maybe you'll have marketing, maybe you'll have finance. It's completely up to you. And that's all explained in the guide. The guide explains how you can structure your team. And an important thing for us is rotation. Okay, we really insist that students must get the opportunity to try out different roles and different departments. This is so that all students get a chance at developing a range of skills. So a student should not spend an entire year doing the same role. Once they've done something for a few weeks or maybe a month, they should be given the chance to rotate and go and experience something else. That way, we can figure out what it is they're most interested in and they can develop more skills. So, excuse me. So, closer to the deadline, you'll need to log into your account and you'll need to go to lesson 10 and you will need to, your students will need to fill out their answer here. And when you're filling out your answer, I recommend that you check out the achievement criteria, because the achievement criteria tells you what a bronze answer looks like, what a silver answer looks like, and what a gold answer looks like. So I will show you the achievement criteria when I do a demonstration of the platform. Okay, so that's everything about lesson 10. And I can see that someone has their hand up. I think it's Divya. So Divya, I'm going to allow you to talk. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. Divya, did you have a question? Your hand was raised. Okay. Seems like maybe you raised it by accident. So no worries. I'll move on. So that was lesson 10. Let's take a look at lesson 11. So lesson 11 is all about marketing your business. And I've called it the one everyone loves, because really, truly, kids love marketing. Like, it's such a fun activity to get involved with. Sometimes it involves social media. Sometimes it involves just going out in the community. Sometimes it involves designing posters or leaflets or making telephone calls. And I think kids really understand, first of all, they find it fun, but they also really understand how this is applicable to the real world. I think they really get that this is going to be helpful for them later in life. So in my experience, kids love getting stuck into the marketing. And let's take a look at what's in the lesson guide. So there are 3 main things. Your students will learn about promotional strategies, customer service, and customer feedback. So these are all really important topics when running a business, and they're all included in the guide. Inside the lesson, you'll be asked to do 2 things. Firstly, your students will have to list the 3 most important things they have learned whilst running their business. So you'll probably have to have a meeting about this and have a bit of a debate, like, what have we learned? And I'd encourage you to involve every student, allow every student to share their thoughts, share their opinion, and then your team will have to agree on what are the top 3. And then once they've listed the top 3 things they've learned and described them a little bit, they'll need to explain how these learnings, these 3 learnings, how are they helping them in their life in general? So not just relating to the school business, like, are these learnings helping at home? Are they helping in their schoolwork? So it's just a bit of a reflective exercise. It's really important that we encourage young people to be introspective and reflective. It's great to develop skills and it's great to learn things, but it's also really important to take the time and reflect on those skills, because that's when a lot of the learning happens, actually, during the reflection. So yeah, lesson 11 is a really good one for that. So once you're ready to complete lesson 11, you'll need to log into your account, go to lesson 11, scroll down to exercise for students. They'll need to type their answer in there, and then before they click complete, they should just check the achievement criteria and make sure they've written a really strong answer. Okay, that was lesson 11. Moving on to lesson 12. Lesson 12 is all about accounting and record keeping. And this one is the hard but life-changing one. So lesson 12 is often the lesson that students and teachers actually struggle the most with, because it's all about finances. And unfortunately, many of us find finances very hard. Like, I'll hold my hand up, I'll admit, I find keeping track of my finances hard. And that's because I never learned it at school. And actually, lesson 12 is an opportunity to teach your students about finances. And, you know, it's widely understood that the big thing that children miss when they leave school, you know, they're full of academic knowledge, but they don't know how to keep track of their money. And, you know, the world we live in today, it's very important to be on top of your money. It's important to have good financial literacy. And so that's why this is such a good lesson, such a valuable lesson. It's hard, but honestly, it could change the life of your students. I'm not even exaggerating. Being financially literate could be life-changing. So really important lesson. So what's in the guide? So the guide explains why accounting is important. And it also teaches you 3 ways of keeping financial records. Your students will learn about purchase ledgers, sales ledgers, and cash books. So you might be thinking, I don't know what those are. Don't worry, because they are all included in the guide. And as well as the guide, we have a worksheet. And this is a worksheet which you can either print out or you can just replicate it on a blank piece of paper. But basically, these 2 here on the right, you know, these are the templates that real businesses use to keep track of their finances. And we're providing that to you. So you don't need to come up with it from scratch. You don't need to invent anything. You just need to print these and use these as your financial records. And then the final point covered in the lesson is just generally how to manage your finances. So if you're thinking, gosh, I don't feel comfortable with my own finances, let alone teaching it to students, don't worry, because all you need to do is go through the guide together as a team. The guide includes all the information you need. And now let's take a look at what you'll need to report on. So there are 4 main things. Firstly, you'll need to give a description of how you raised the startup capital. So the startup capital is the small initial amount of money you need to get started. So where did you get that from? And then you'll need to do some financial reporting. So you'll need to list your local currency. You'll need to tell us what's your currency. So if you're in India, it's rupees. If you're in Nigeria, it's naira, etc. You'll need to tell us your currency, and you'll need to tell us for which period you are reporting finances. So you'll need to tell us for how many months you kept records for. And yeah, that'll help us when we're marking the annual report. And then you're going to need to give us figures for income, gross profit, indirect costs, and net profit. Now, these things might seem scary, but they are all defined inside the guide. So, so don't worry, just take your time, read through it, and it'll become clear. And don't forget, we have the template, we have the worksheet. So basically, your students just need to fill out the worksheet whenever they buy something or whenever they make a sale. They just need to keep track of it inside the worksheet. And then finally, you'll be asked to upload evidence of 2 types of financial records. So for example, here on the left, we have purchase ledger, sales ledger, cash book. Your students are expected to use at least 2 of these, and we'll need a photo of it so that you can show us that they used it. And yeah, once you've been running your business for a few weeks or for a month, you can log into your account and you can bring all of your financial details to lesson 12. And yeah, you'll need to make sure that your calculations are correct, and so on. And you'll need to refer to the achievement criteria, so that you make sure you've got a good quality answer inside lesson 12. So let's move on to lesson 13, which is all about managing your team. And the tagline for this lesson is a lesson in dealing with people. So this lesson, I think, is awesome because it's all centered around people and interactions. And yeah, let's take a look at what's inside the guide. So you'll get introduced to why management is important. You'll learn some tips on motivating people. You'll learn how to hold effective team meetings, and your students will get guidance on how to mentor new members who join the team. And I'm sure you can see from these 4 bullet points, like it just involves a lot of people coming together and getting along, basically. And that's just so important in life, isn't it? Like us as adults, we have meetings all the time. You know, we might not always agree with our colleagues, and it's really important to, you know, find ways of discussing things with people, you know, politely and coming up to mutual agreements that suit everyone. You know, life is full of compromise, and in some cases, children don't know that. They don't know that they have to compromise. They think they can have everything their way. And I think this lesson is a really good way of teaching them that actually, you know, different people are going to come to the meeting with a different opinion, and you're going to have to discuss it, and you're going to have to learn how to agree on something. And yeah, I think it's a really sort of grown up lesson, I think. I really like it anyway. And this 4th bullet point, I think, is really important. If you've been running your business for a few years now, you'll know that over time you need to bring in new team members. You know, the older kids will graduate, they'll pass through, younger kids will want to be part of a business team. And it's really important that the more experienced children mentor the new team members. And this is obviously good for the younger learners because they get shown what it's all about. But it's an incredible learning opportunity for the people who are doing the mentoring as well. You know, maybe they've been doing, you know, maybe they're the head of a marketing team and they've been doing marketing for 1 year or 2 years, for example. You know, they're really good at marketing now, but actually when they have to mentor the next person who's going to come into the mentoring, into the marketing team, they are going to need to really retest their knowledge. You know, I'm sure you know this as teachers, like when you go to actually teach something, you kind of have to relearn it yourself before you teach it. And that just adds a whole new layer of learning for the person who's doing the mentoring. So it's really mutually beneficial for the mentee and the mentor. And it's also just a great, you know, great learning exercise for young people. Again, it's all included in the guide. And then when you're ready to report, you're going to need to do 4 things. You are going to have to list the members in your business management committee and what their roles are. So if you remember in a previous lesson, we introduced the concept of business management committee. This is the higher level committee made up of staff at the school and a few students from the team, as well as parents and members of a community. That's like the executive board of the business. They need to have meetings where they get together and they discuss high level stuff. And we want to know who's in those meetings and what role do they play. And then the second point, we want to know what happened in those meetings. So who attended and what were the key points discussed. And here, I think I want to explain is a business management committee meeting is different to just a team meeting, okay? Team meetings, I'm sure you're having them on a regular basis, like probably weekly or daily even, you know? But these business management committee, they're a bit bigger. Maybe you only have them monthly or every 6 weeks or something, you know? So here you're listing particularly your business management committee meetings. And you'll be asked to explain how you're going to spend your profits from your school business and why you're going to spend them that way. So it's really important that this is a decision made democratically, and it's really important that everyone is on board with how the money is spent. And this shouldn't just be a decision from the teacher or the head teachers, the principal. We really encourage you to include the students. It's the money that they've earned through the business. What do they want to spend it on? Please, please allow them the space to come up with their own ideas. And then finally, your students will be asked to list 4 challenges that they faced whilst running their business, and they'll need to explain how they overcame those challenges. So they'll need to provide quotes. So in the first person, they'll need to say, a challenge I faced was I struggled to get customers on the first sales day. This is how we dealt with it. We got together as a team and we created flyers and we went out in the community, for example. So again, it's a really reflective exercise where they think, oh, what did we find hard and what did we do about it? Same as always, once you're ready, you'll need to log in, go to lesson 13 and go and enter the answer here. And you need to check the achievement criteria to make sure you have a really good, strong answer. So that was lesson 13. And now we are going to go to lesson 14, which is the final lesson of step 3 and the final lesson of the program. And I've called this one Looking into the Future. And the reason I've called it this is because this lesson focuses on sustainability and business development. So it's all at like looking forward, looking into the future and just saying, right, this is everything that we've done. Where are we going now? And inside the guide, your students will learn about the 3 pillars of sustainability, which are social sustainability, environmental sustainability, and financial sustainability. And then they will learn how to come up with future strategies, and they will learn about product development. They'll learn about what it is and how to do it. All of this is included in the guide, and it's really important that you take your time when doing this, because if I'm being honest, this could be the difference between your business only existing for a few weeks and your business becoming something that exists in the long term and has a real future and has a real impact at your school. So your students, how good their strategies are will have a real impact on how long the business lives for. So please, take your time doing lesson 14. When you're ready, you'll need to report on 2 things. Your students will need to give a description of how their business is having a positive impact on the environment and the community. So you'll remember from step 2, any school business must be environmentally conscious and must be socially conscious. So in lesson 14, we're going to ask you, how is your business doing this? How is it being good for the environment? How is it being good for the community? And finally, your students will need to provide an explanation of how their business will be profitable in the future and how it can continue running sustainably over at least 1 more year. If you want to think beyond that, great, but at least, what's your plan for the next year? And once you have that already, you can log in to your account and you can provide the answer. And you've guessed it, you can check the achievement criteria to make sure you've provided a really good answer. So those were the 5 lessons in step 3, lesson 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I know I went through really quickly, but it was just an overview to give you a feel of what's inside and what you'll need to report on. And I hope that you'll take the time to look at the guides. And if you have questions today, you can ask them during the question and answer session. But also, if you're doing lesson 12 in a week's time and you have a question, you can just send us an email or you can send us a WhatsApp message and we'll be very, very happy to hear from you. So yeah, don't worry if you're stuck on a lesson. If you're finding a lesson particularly hard, you can just reach out to us and we'll be here to help. So I'm conscious of the time. This has taken longer than I expected, but I do still want to do this. I want to do a quick demo of the online platform. And I'm going to do a number of things. So I'm going to show you how you can access the materials for each lesson. I'm going to show you how you can view the achievement criteria, which I've been mentioning so much in this webinar. I'm going to give you a quick tour of the resources library because I think it's something not many people know about, but is really helpful. And I am going to show you how to submit your team's answers. And finally, I'm going to show you how to use the photo journal. So let's do it now. Let's go to the website, which is www.schoolenterprisechallenge.org. So I hope you can see my screen. I'm on the School Enterprise Challenge website. And here in the top right, it says login. When I click on login, it will open up a new tab. And here you need to log in with your username and password. Click on login and you will be taken to your school dashboard. Oh, it looks like a few people have their hand raised. If you have a question, please can you type it in the chat? Okay, if there's no questions, I will carry on. I hope you can see my screen. If you can't see my screen, please let me know. So I'm on the school dashboard, and to access the lessons, you'll need to scroll down to the section which says business teams. And you can see in my case, I have 5 teams at my school. But maybe your school has just 1 or 2 teams. That's absolutely fine. In my case, I want to go and access the lessons for team 2, which is called a Cup of Cotswolds. And I'm just going to click on access lessons here next to the team name. And this is going to take me to team 2's team dashboard. And it's on the team dashboard where you can access the lessons. So today we're focusing on step 3, which is implementation. You can see the step 3 lessons are here. And if you want to go back to old lessons that you've already completed, you can just click on this arrow and they will appear and you can see the lessons from step 2 and you can see the lessons from step 1. But in my case, I'm interested in step 3, so I will reduce these and just focus on step 3. So I just spoke about each of the lessons, and I'm going to show you what a lesson looks like. So if I click on lesson 10, I'll be taken to the lesson 10 on business management. There's information about the lesson, how to teach it. There's a video for you to watch, learning objectives. And here is where we have the lesson resources. So when I was talking about the guide, the lesson guide for lesson 10, it's here. So you just need to click on download and it will arrive on your computer and you'll have the PDF. So this is the thing you need to download in order to do the lesson with your students. Then we have some inspiration. So here we have a story of a school in Nigeria. This is a real school and how they did this lesson. And we also have inspiration from India, how a school from India did this lesson. Then we have the quiz for teachers. So this is a quick little quiz, just 5 questions aimed at the teacher for you to test your knowledge of this lesson before you go and do it with your students. So I recommend you take the quiz by clicking start, and yeah, see what your score is out of 5. And don't worry, like, this won't affect your final result. This won't affect if you get a prize or not. This is just for you to test your own knowledge. And then here we have the exercise for students section, which I referred to earlier. And this is where they need to type their answers. So this is where your students provide their answers that will go into their annual report document. So anything they type here, they need to click save, and then it will go into their annual report document. And once you're finished, you just need to mark the lesson as complete. But what did we say? We said before doing that, always check the achievement criteria. And the achievement criteria is here. Every question in the step 3 has achievement criteria. You can see this little medal. Click on it and it will open up the achievement criteria on the right-hand side. And here it will tell you, what does a bronze answer look like? What does a silver answer look like? What does a gold answer look like? So before you click mark as complete, look at your answer, look at the achievement criteria. Is it in the category that you want to be? And then once you're happy, just click on save and click on mark as complete. Once you've marked it as complete, you'll be taken back to your team dashboard. And from there, you can access all of the other lessons. In my case, I've done lesson 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. You can tell because of these green ticks, but I haven't done lesson 14 yet. So when it gets closer to the deadline, I'll go in, I'll do lesson 14, I'll mark it as complete, and then I'll be ready to submit my annual report. And make sure you do this before the 22nd of November if you want to win a prize this year. So that's how you access each of the lessons. But I also want to show you the resources library. So the resources library is here on the left. Can you see my menu? Sometimes it's minimized. So you'll need to click on this button to make it big. And then here you can see loads of different options. I'm interested in the resources library. So click on resources. And it will open the library. The library is divided into different sections. And within each section, there are many resources. So each of these is a different resource that is about the School Enterprise Challenge. So if you're new to the program, you probably need to read all of these. And here you'll see we have all of the guides for all of the lessons, okay? So if you want the guide for lesson 11, you can go into lesson 11 and download it from here. But if you just wanted to get all of the guides quickly without going into the lessons, you can just download them from the library. For example, if you want guide 12, just click on view and then click on download this file and it will come to your computer. So you've got all of the guides here in one place and all of the worksheets here in one place. So if you want to get ahead and download them all, please go ahead. Here we have information about mini competitions, and we'll be uploading another one here soon. And then I also wanted to show you the achievement criteria. So I mentioned we have achievement criteria, and I showed you how to see it inside the lesson, but you can also get the document to your computer like this. So if you want it in one nice PDF on your computer, which tells you what's required in every single lesson, you can go and get it from the resources library. So, final thing to show you in the resources library, if you scroll down, all the way down, you'll see how-to videos. These videos are recorded and to help you with how to use this platform. It teaches you how to complete a lesson, how to create a new business team, how to edit your personal info, how to edit your school's info, how to submit a business idea, how to access the educational resources. If you don't know how to do any of these things, just click view and watch the video. These videos are super short and they show you how to do things inside this platform. Okay, final thing I want to show you is how to use the photo journal. So to use the photo journal, you'll need to go to your business team, the one you want to upload a photo for. So on business teams here in the menu, you can expand it and you can go to the team you want. I want to go to team 2. And then you can just click on the photo journal button here. Or you can scroll to the bottom and there's also a photo journal down here. It's the same photo journal. Click on view all photos and you will see all the photos that you have uploaded so far, organized by month. I've uploaded 3 photos. And if you want to upload new photos, just click on this button, add new photo, and then follow the instructions on screen. It will guide you step by step how to pick the photo, how to give it a title, how to give it a description, and so on. So please, my top tip to you is when your students are making sales, take photos like this one, take photos of them in action, and then upload them to the photo journal. This will really bring your submission to life. And that's it for my tour of the platform. I know it's super quick, but we're really running out of time. And I want to do the last thing, which is to announce the next mini competition. So before you leave, please stay with me for 5 more minutes whilst I tell you about this really, really exciting opportunity. So the theme of this next mini competition is a day in the life of our school business. And your students will need to make a video of 2 minutes maximum. So a very short video, no more than 2 minutes, that shows your team's product or service and its team members. And the video should also explain how your school business works. You might want to describe the different departments, who's involved, what it is you sell, how it is you sell it, where you sell it, who your customers are, and so on. So your students have 2 minutes to basically tell the story of their school business. So it's almost like a documentary, a day in the life of our school business. And the deadline to take part in this mini competition is the 22nd of November, 2022. And as for all of our mini competitions, we have a guidance document, which I'm going to show you now. And it's also going to be uploaded to the resources library, so you can find it there, and it's going to be shared by email, so you can also find it there. But let's take a look at the guidance document together. It's a PDF, which is 2 pages and includes lots of information. It includes the criteria for eligibility. So if you want to take part in this mini competition, your team must submit a business idea and plan and upload their video, their 2-minute video, which I just described, by the 22nd of November. Every team that submits an eligible video, so a suitable video, will receive an official certificate to say they took part in this mini competition. And we also have 2 prizes for the 2 best videos. The 2 best videos will be invited to be panelists at our global online celebration event in December. So you're the first to hear about this, but in December, we're going to be having a big online event with all of the School Enterprise Challenge participants. The winners of this mini competition will get to sit on the panel and they'll get to present their school business to the entire world. So it's a really, really, really prestigious opportunity and an amazing opportunity for anyone who wins it. So submit at least your business plan by the 22nd of November and also upload your video. You need to upload the video to Padlet. I'm going to show you Padlet now. Padlet is this website, and you just need to click on the plus and then click on here, upload file, and then select the video that you want to upload. So the deadline is 22nd of November, which basically means you have a month. You have a whole month to plan out and record this video. Now, what should the video look like? The video should show your business team members and explain what their responsibilities are. And it should also show your products or services. And here we've shared how to create a great video. So you'll notice there are 3 companies listed here. They've all done a day in the life of videos. So you can watch these 3 videos for inspiration, but then you need to go and create your own. And we think there's basically 2 main styles you can go for. You can go for the talking head style, which is basically filming people who are talking to camera, a bit like I'm doing today. Or we can do the follow me around style, where someone is with a camera and is following the business team, is following the different members, is asking them questions, a bit like a documentary. So it's completely up to you how you do it. You can be more innovative than this if you like. We're really looking forward to seeing what you come up with. The key thing is you keep it under 2 minutes. You clearly tell us the story of your school business and you submit it before 22nd of November. And here on the bottom of the document, there's a bit of guidance on how to use Padlet in case you're not familiar with it. Padlet is the website we use for all of our mini competitions. So that is all of the information about the mini competition. It's now live, so you can tell your students about it today and they can start planning their video and they can start recording. And that's also everything for today's webinar. So I just want to say thank you very much for listening. And I am now open to your questions. So if you have a question, just click on Q&A button and put your questions in there. And I will answer them now. I'm going to stick around for 5 or 10 minutes, taking everybody's questions. If you need to leave, I completely understand. You can head off now, just say bye in the chat. But before you leave, I would just like to share a survey with you. So let me get the link now. So if you attended today's webinar, I would love to get your feedback on the webinar. So I've put together a very, very short Google form. Which I'm sharing the link now. Genuinely, it's a really short form. You can fill it out in 3 minutes probably. And you filling out this form will do me a massive favor because I really want to know what you think of the webinars, whether you liked it, maybe you didn't like it, maybe you want to change something about it. I'm totally open to honest feedback. The survey is anonymous. So, you know, you can be as honest as you like. I'll be looking at the results and I'll be making changes to future webinars based on your feedback. So I'm just gonna share my presentation again. and I'm going to start taking your questions. So I can see a few coming in. Let me read them now. Prissa says, please send the notes after the meeting. So you'll be getting an email with the recording of this webinar as well as the slides. So all of this will be shared with you so you can refer back to it whenever you like. Someone says, please, can you show us some advice for lesson 6 business plan? So today's webinar was really about step 3. It was really about annual report. It was about lessons 10 to 14. If you're not there yet, I encourage you to go back and watch the webinars for those steps. So if you're still working on the business plan, we did a webinar already on business plan and it's on YouTube. So go on YouTube, search School Enterprise Challenge, and you'll find our old webinars on there. If you missed them, I really recommend you watch them again. Harish asked a really good question. Does the result of a teacher quiz impact on your team's results? Not at all. The results of a teacher quiz are completely anonymous. So they're not, they don't impact your team's results at all. They're just for you. It's for you, the teacher, to test your own knowledge of a lesson before teaching it with your students. You know, you're all great educators here. I'm sure you'll appreciate it's important to understand what you're teaching before you're teaching it. So yeah, we just wanted to give you the opportunity to test yourself. But you know, the teacher quiz, it's completely optional, and the results don't impact on your team's results. So don't worry about that. And Harish's next question is how to upload a pic in each session. So to upload pictures, just go to the photo journal and upload them in there. You don't upload them inside the lessons, you upload them inside the photo journal. So just go and upload them in your photo journal. And when you're uploading the photo, you'll be asked, what step does this relate to? Does it relate to step 1? Does it relate to step 2? Or does it relate to step 3? So just pick the step which is most relevant, which relates to the photo. And then if you say step 2, that means the photo will go in your business plan. Whereas if you put step 3, that means your photo will go in your annual report. So Harish, I hope that answers your questions. Dr. Bashiru Sadiku asked, what age of students are we looking at? So this program, the School Enterprise Challenge, is aimed at all students in either primary or secondary school. So we have students as young as 5 or 6 taking part, and we have students who are 17, 18 taking part. Obviously, for secondary school students, it's easier for them to understand and to take the lead. So probably there's less teacher involvement when you're doing it with secondary school kids, whereas with primary school kids, you'll need to support them a bit more. But basically, the program is suitable for all ages. It's just up to you to adapt it a little bit depending on your students, but definitely suitable for primary and secondary. So we have a question about the mini competition, which I'm going to take. So it's, please explain what are the expectations you have from the video mini competition. So all of this is explained in the guidance document, which actually I'm going to share with you now. And in the chat, I'm going to share the guidance document so that you have it. If you give me one moment. For some reason, it's not letting me share it in the chat. So maybe I can't share PDF. So don't worry, I'll be sharing it by email, and it will also be available on the School Enterprise Challenge blog. So you'll see it there in the next few days. Basically, we are looking for a 2-minute video which tells the story of your school business. And you've said 2 minutes is quite difficult to present everything in that short period of time. Yes, but it's really important that you send a 2-minute video. Please do not, if you submit a 5-minute video, you will not be eligible. Okay. Now, why? Your students need to learn how to be very clear and succinct. And they also need to learn to pick out the most important points, right? So I'm sure your students could film 15 or 20 minutes, they could probably talk about their school business all day. But what we're doing through this mini competition is we're challenging them. Can you be precise? Can you just pick out, we don't want to know everything about the business. We just want to know the key points. It's a really important skill in life to talk succinctly, isn't it? It's really important to just say the key points, because people watching the video, they don't have 2 hours to learn about the business. They just want to learn about the business in 2 minutes. So that's why it's really important that the business is 2 minutes. So in answer to your question, it's up to you what you showcase, because you know your business. So you've been given 2 minutes opportunity. What do you want to tell the world about your business? It doesn't need to be a pitch. It needs to be a day in the life of. So, you can follow people around. Maybe you could do a documentary about a sales day, for example. It's completely up to you. Ramsha asked, is it necessary that the product is related to some social cause? No, the business doesn't have, the product doesn't have to be related to a social cause. You just have to be able to show that you're considering people and planet. It doesn't need to be a social product, but it also shouldn't be a harmful product. Sufyan asks, is there a maximum photo required? No, there's no maximum or minimum number of photos, but probably try and upload 5 or 10, the five best photos or 10 best photos that show your business. Put those in the photo journal. Please don't upload 100 photos. Just pick the best ones. Okay, lots of people saying thank you. It sounds like I've answered most of your questions. Someone's asked, can you show a model of business idea? Again, we did a webinar all about business idea. So I'd encourage you to go and check out the business idea webinar. I spoke about it for 1 hour. Someone asked, is it necessary that the product is related to climate change? No, that is not a requirement. I'm not sure where you got that idea from, but no, the business can be selling any kind of product or service. If you want to make it about climate change, that's great. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Someone says, will the participating students get certificates? Yes, they will. All teams that complete all 3 steps of the program will get a participation certificate. So once you submit the 3rd step, we will officially recognize that you participated in the program. Some of our students don't know how to express their experience of SEC in English. Shall I make them speak Tamil for the mini competition? It's fine if they speak Tamil in the video, but the judges will not understand Tamil, so they will not be able to choose you as a winner. So if you do the video in Tamil, could you also provide us the text in English, maybe in writing? That would be really helpful so that the judges understand what's happening. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for them to pick you as a winner. But definitely, the students can speak in Tamil in the video. That's okay. We just need it in English as well. Someone says, good day. I'm joining this webinar for the first time. What's the process for getting my school and students registered? So if you're not registered already, you can just go to the School Enterprise Challenge website, click register, and fill out the form. Once you filled out the registration form, you'll have your own online account, and from there you can take part. So if you haven't registered, you can. And once you've registered, you'll have access to all of the educational materials and the resources which I spoke about today. Okay, good question here. What is the size of each business team? So we've relaxed the rules around this since the pandemic because we know it's been hard to have big business teams. But really, the minimum number of students you should involve is 15. Somewhere between 15 and 45 is a good business team size. And if you haven't got 15 students yet, don't worry, you know, you can just carry on as you are and over time recruit more students. So if 15 students were involved with coming up with the idea, and now you're about to start business plan, why not bring in some more students, 5 or 10 more students to get involved with the planning? And then maybe you can bring some more on later on when you launch the business. You know, many times students, they're not really sure whether they want to be part of a business team, but then their friend is part of it and they see that their friend's having loads of fun and they want to get involved. So don't be scared to grow your business team over time. Try and involve at least 15, all the way up to 45 or even more if you want. There's no maximum size, but ideally at least 15. Sylvester says how to submit the business idea. So to submit the business idea, you need to log into your account. You need to do lessons 1, 2, 3, 4 with your students, and you need to click submit. Great. I think that was most of the questions today. We've gone over time, so I'm really sorry about that. But you've all been really, really patient, which I really appreciate. And, you know, you've stuck with me, which is really lovely. And I've really enjoyed having you with me. I've really enjoyed presenting to you, and I've enjoyed all of your questions. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your day. I hope you feel motivated to really take part with your students. You know, if you haven't started yet, or if you're only part way through, it's not too late. Just keep going with the lessons and do as much as you can before the 22nd of November. And then you'll be able to carry on into next year if you don't finish. So yeah, good luck to everyone. Please take 5 minutes to do the survey. The link is in the chat. It'll also be in the email. So yeah, thank you very much. And I really look forward to seeing you in future webinars. And for those of you that haven't already, please make sure you join our Global Teacher WhatsApp group. So I'll share the link with you in the chat now. This is a really wonderful thing where teachers hang out and ask questions and answer each other's questions. So it's a really nice place to interact with other educators from other countries. So I'll put the link in the chat now. Remember to join the global WhatsApp group. There you go. So if you just click on that link, you'll get instructions on how to join the School Enterprise Challenge Teacher WhatsApp group. So if you're not there already, I recommend you join. Fabulous. Thank you so much. And I wish you guys all of the best. And if you ever need anything from our team, you can just send us an email, info@schoolenterprisechallenge.org, and we will be so happy to help you. Thank you very much and goodbye.